Sorry everybody, sorry for that slight stop at the end of the last video. I was being called down by my parent. So back to it. So like I said, Yahiko basically just like comes off as an annoying kid sometimes, but everything he says does make sense in retrospect. The last character I have to talk about is Sagara Sanosuke, who starts off as basically a street fighter for hire, and he gradually grows a little bit. He's kind of a weird character. He doesn't really seem to need to grow to a certain aspect, but anyways, he was hired by villains of the series to fight Kenshin, so that the villains can take over the dojo that Kaoru runs. Eventually, he does take on Kenshin, and Kenshin does beat him in a fair one-on-one fight, and it was really good. It was a really good fight. The thing about Sanosuke is he's a very good person, but he also really is a really tough person to get along with to a certain aspect. But he's a good character, and after Kenshin beats him, he makes a promise to always fight for good. But he's one of those really Kamina-esque guys that are really heavy on the whole, if you're a man, be a man kind of thing. Follow through with the promises that you make, and do something to do. It's just so yeah, he's a really good character, and it's good. It's good. It comes in like the 4th or 5th chapter of the series. Let me see. Oh, comes in chapter 5 of the 8th series. Anyway, time to talk about some of the villains, since there are actually quite a few villains in this series, but there's only, speaking honestly, there's probably about 1, 2, 3. There's about 3 main villains, and hell, even one of the main villains really isn't a villain in the conventional kind of way. So the first villain that shows up, which isn't really a villain, I can't remember his name, unfortunately, but he was part of the Shinsengumi, and he fought Kenshin quite a few times in his early years, and eventually he came to hunt down Kenshin just to see if he could beat him, because every fight that they have was pretty much inconclusive in showing that basically they were both really good fighters. So Kenshin, they never end up ending their fight, but they take on one another in his first reappearance in the series, and he does a really good job as sort of like this anti-hero kind of person. But he ends up joining up with Kenshin to help take down basically the forefront villain. If you think about it, basically the Frieza of the Rurouni Kenshin series. I can't remember his name either. I'm sorry. I gotta get my facts better. But basically, this is a guy that has been, that was such a good warrior that he ends up getting burned, supposedly burned to death, and he makes his reappearance, and he's basically kind of like a warlord kind of guy. He has a lot of strong villains working with him, and it's basically the longest running arc in the Rurouni Kenshin series. The final villain is a brother of the girl who gave Kenshin that scar on his face that you see. If you see the cross scar on his left cheek, that is he's the brother of the girl that did that. And basically he's hunting after Kenshin because it was his fault basically that his brother-in-law died and that she died in the end. And it's been a while since I read the storyline, so I'm really jumbling on the facts, but it's really good because this guy's one of the few villains that has ever been able to take down Kenshin in such a way that Kenshin literally stops believing in life itself. What he ends up doing is basically he kidnaps Kaoru, who, like I said, Kenshin's love interest, and he sets up this fake doll to be killed, and by the time Kenshin gets there, the doll the dog looks like Haru is already dead. So he goes into this incredibly bad slump and gets really depressed and basically locks up his sword in chains because he couldn't protect the one person that mattered to him the most. So, that stuff happens. And it's really sad and really like a really dark kind of story because just Kenshin losing what's most important to him. Actually, when I first started reading it, I actually thought that this was kind of a dream sequence because it seemed way too depressing to be real, but it was actually real. Also, we see how everyone reacts to this. Yahiko is really pissed off and wants to take down the villain that did this, and Sanosuke tries to break Kenshin out of his like slump, even going as far as to punch him in the face and eventually give up on him. So then he goes on to his own kind of adventure where he has to learn a few things about himself. I'm not going to go on anymore because you should really read the series yourself, but in any case, it's a really good series. If you haven't read it, read it. Viz Media still releases these. They're no longer in stores, but you can find them online, or just order them if you go to a Chapters. You can order them off the Chapters site and get them in. That's how I got this one, and it's a really good series. I gotta get the rest of this. It's the only one I own. Also, if you are a fan and if you already read it, I suggest you go checking out Rurouni Kenshin Restoration. But anyways, that's it for now. See you later.